Hello, I'm Samantha Plummer, and I'm here with the mayor of Gallup, Jackie McKiney, and yeah. So, can I ask you some questions about Gallup and just the community and everything?
Certainly.
Okay. So, what can you tell me about what's being done about the homeless population?
Well, it's using the word homeless is an interesting division of issues that we have in our community. We certainly have some homeless people, but we also have some people that choose to live on the streets in our area, but they do have homes in other locations. But if you want to talk about the people that we have on the streets, and we have a lot of issues with the alcohol issues or panhandling issues. As everyone's aware, we've had the detox operation. By state law, we can pick up individuals that are inebriated and unable to take care of themselves. It's a protected custody law. Now, many of these people are taken into a facility and they are kept overnight. If they're repeat offenders, they're kept up to 24, 48, and 72 hours. Recently, in the last 2 years, we've worked with the New Mexico State Health Department, creating some great programs in behavioral health for continuing service programs. The aftercare, we've worked hand in hand with the RMCHS hospital on their East Campus that they have a in-house treatment center. So we're referring a lot of clients to that. We've just started building the databases with the state's help and Indian Health Services Hospital to create a list of the frequent, let's call them frequent flyers, frequent users of the program, that, to learn more about who they are, the ones that are coming into our facilities 10 times a month, who they are, what their true conditions are the unemployment status, the homeless status, their family status, and that way we can best refer them into the continuing care programs that they need. So we're working with 200 of those people right now building this information. But we've worked quite a bit in the last few years in developing these programs, and we are starting to see the fruits of our labor. We are getting some people through some treatment programs and continuing, trying to get the Navajo Nation back to the table, because they want to bring, if their people are from some reservation properties surrounding us in New Mexico, Arizona, they want to get them back home and integrate them back into their families. So there's a lot going on.
It sounds like you guys are taking care of it and like taking care of the people. You know what I
Well,
mean?
we're addressing the issues, and we hope to make headway. We continue. I say we used to take baby steps, but now we're taking full-length steps, and hopefully in the next year and a half we'll be off and running with some great programs to save some people's lives is the intent, and to give them hope so that they can learn that they have choices to make and they need to make the right choices.
Sounds great. I really hope it works out.
All of us do.
Okay. Do you think the potholes and the speeding and the construction sites are a problem in Gallup?
Well, it's interesting. Right now we have over $5 million in road work going on in Gallup. We're milling and resurfacing many roads in town. Even my wife one day made the comment to me, "Jackie, there's too many orange barrels around town." And I had to remind her that these orange barrels mean there's work being done in progress. And it's probably the biggest effort that the city's had in many, many years to repave some roads. And we naturally had to work on water lines and sewer lines before we did the road work. But we were fortunate. The community passed a bond that allowed some funds to come into that. We took city monies out of the city general fund budget, and we've had help from the state. So there's a lot of road work being done. Potholes are interesting because they surface after every winter. We have such inclement weather here, and it's the difference in the temperature changes every day. We change as much as 50 to 60 degrees in a day. But when we go through the freezing times of the year, lots of moisture on the roads, and then it dries out. That change in temperature creates a lot of these potholes, and the city crews are determined to work on them. We do have a website, the city website you can go on to. It's called Click Fix, and report areas that people feel need to be fixed, and they guarantee that they will get a response within 2 days.
Sounds great. I will tell people about that site.
It's, I was out of town in some meetings, statewide meetings with all the mayors and other officials in the state over in Clovis, New Mexico last week, and I drove their community. Their roads are in worse shape than ours. I just am here to tell you. It's around our nation. The unfortunate part is, and even our interstates and our bridges, all of this was done in the New Deal era back in the 1950s. And now our countries and our governments are having a real hard time how to fix the bridges and the roads, the freeways, the municipal towns, the state's roads. It takes a lot of money. And so fortunately, we're able to get some work done in Gallup, and I hope people appreciate what we are doing.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm sure we all do, but where will the economy be in a year?
Well, that's a pretty poignant question. I think what we need to look about is where we've been, where we're at now, and where we hope to go. Gallup has had a pretty flat economy now for the last 10 years. In 2008, the major recession that hit the United States did have a trickle-down effect into our area. So we felt the crunch of our national budget, and the state budget has been crunched especially last year. There was no monies for capital improvement projects. But Gallup, amazingly enough, has had a second wind. We've had the great opportunity of private investment coming into town. If you look around town, we have 5 brand new hotels and motels built in the last few years. And I can assure you that people are in that business, in the hotelier business, they know the cost per square foot and what their return on investment would be. And they wouldn't be investing these monies if they didn't think that Gallup's economy is strong and going to get stronger. One of the other great advents we had a few years ago was Gallup Land Partners came in and bought the old Merkel properties, which is 27,000 acres of land, and they paid $33 million for it. So that was a major investment for people looking in our area and see the potential for great things to come. And since they purchased the property, they've invested about $6 million in railroad track. On the west end of Gallup, if you go on County Road 1, a lot of their property is there. It's all basically in the northwest part of our area. There's a rail loop up there. The train cars will come off the intercontinental rail tracks and go into that loop. And they're expanding that operation and then developing an energy logistics park, which they hope to serve from the San Juan Basin area to load crude oils in this area and get it on to the Intercontinental Railroad. That oil goes around the world. So that's a great opportunity. And in the future, the one that I'm real excited about is an inland park out there where many of these railroad cars that people see in the trains going through, they have what they call, I just lost the word, but companies like Walmart, Costco, Walgreens, they have trains that they own every car on that train, up to 110 cars. So what they need is distribution points to, when they unload them at the ports out on the West Coast, those trains can come in, unload into large warehousing projects, and then the trucking disperses it into the geographic area you're in. And we're perfectly and ideally located for our train service here to build this warehousing and to ship product out of Gallup into southern Colorado, southern Utah, and from here down into southern New Mexico. So the dominoes are getting ready to fall, and I think we're going to experience a lot of economic growth and a lot of job creation.
Sounds great. It sounds like such great plans. And
well, it's really there's been a lot of work put into this, and naturally, we as a city and administration and our economic development partners, we have to go around the world and attract these people. recently we've had numerous visitors from China and South Korea in our area looking to establish manufacturing and distribution points. So it's fun, it's a lot of work, but we have to put on our selling shoes and attract these people that they can see that we can support the workforce that they need. And we have the interstate and the railroad right here to move their goods in and out of the country.
Sounds great. And just a lot of new stuff happening, you know?
Well, and one other one, I don't want to bore you with a lot of details,
okay.
but we're in the process of developing a free trade zone. And that happens in the United States that all these international manufacturers use. And it's a designated free trade zone where you actually have a port of entry for their goods coming in or out of the United States. And we're in the process of creating a free trade zone in the Gallup area. And that will give some tax incentives to these international companies that will really boost our potential. So these are all the things we've been working on for about the past 5 years. Since I came in office, it took a year and a half to get the ball rolling, but now we've laid the groundwork and we're starting to see some fruits of our labor.
Good. Okay, so what can you say about the education in Gallup?
Well, I'll talk about education around America. It's terrible. I think that we've made some strides in Gallup recently, but I still think that our whole education program that the federal and state governments need to get behind is we need a lot more early education. And I'm talking about kids pre-kindergarten from 3 to 5 and then continue on to through their grade school years. But we want, and it's going to take a while to see this turnaround, but I know, and it's up to people voting for the right people to put in office, especially in our state government and federal government, that we need these education tools presented, and it needs to be free education for the preschoolers, where parents can get their kids in, because we know the cognitive years for young people, they develop their brain and their skill and their thinking patterns most from the time of age 3 to 5. And we need to make sure that our country gets behind this. This is why I believe that we're way behind other countries around the world. Their education systems exceed ours. And we need to provide free education and get these kids when they're young. And I think in 2 decades, we can make a major turnaround and let people know that if they want to succeed in life and be successful and be a good part of our society, the more education, the better.
Yeah, I agree with that, because like the little kids that, like the little children that are around me, they're so smart, you know, like they know how to talk. They just need the tools to have the education to grow.
And that we need to provide those tools and the learning skills. So there's a way to teach them how to learn better and be more cognitive and retain what they get. And that's why I think getting into young people, we need to, you know, we have your age group is so technologically advanced from previous generations, but we need to get our youth to quit doing this.
Put it down.
And start using those skills to their better advantage, because you have that ability and that learning capacity. It's been inherent in you. But along with educating the mind, we need to educate the bodies. We need people to be physically active, because the better you are at being physically active, you'll be stronger mentally. So I think that there's some good things to happen, and our country needs to, or we're going to wind up with internationally with too many countries ahead of us, and our youth just won't have a chance competing in the outside world.
I agree with that. My education, I take it really seriously. I'm athletic. I do sports, and I'm just growing up, you know, and because I'm a junior, so I'm close to leaving and going to college, and I'm just so ready to like start my own life and get some more education.
As all kids your age, as I was. I'm a Gallup High graduate in 1969, so it's exciting that people, more important now than maybe years in the past. It's always been important, but I think more important now is people to get continuing educations And there's so many opportunities, even if they come from maybe families that can't afford to send them to school. There's so many opportunities and scholarships, and if people plan ahead and set their goals when they're in junior high and early high school years, there's scholarships they can get if they really apply themselves. What young people need to know is that life doesn't go on forever. And I know when you're in high school and right when you get out, you think it's going to go on forever, but it doesn't. And people need to develop their skill levels so they can become a part of society and have a good working income, so that when they get to my age, they have set aside a nest egg and can take care of themselves in longer years, because our lifespans are getting longer. But physically, some people can't work past 60 or 70. So you better have a nest egg ready for that. The government isn't going to subsidize you. People, we're not all entitled that we're going to be taken care of, both with our health care and our old age problems. And it's important people get those educations to better set themselves up for the future.
I think like everybody should want to succeed and be able to be successful when you're older, and like just be ready for life and take care of yourself.
There's an old adage, you set goals. Everybody needs to become goal setters. And so you set a goal and you go achieve it. Well, don't plateau out. Don't stop there. Set another goal and keep setting goals. Unfortunately, some people do plateau out. They worked hard to get to where they get to, and they plateau out and they're complacent and happy with what they have. But if you're a goal setter and you set more goals, you will keep raising the bar and you'll keep achieving more than you can ever imagine. We still live in America, the greatest country in the world. And it's possible for anyone, the rags to riches story are still happening every day in our country.
And it's just so amazing. And back to when you said that you graduated